Bellator 264, Mousasi versus Salter, 11 fights on the entire fight card. The main event, Gegard Mousasi versus John Salter for the middleweight belt. 5 rounds, and it's going to be a really good fight. John Salter, one of the best wrestlers and grapplers in the middleweight division inside of Bellator of all time. Maybe besides Javier Lovato Jr., but he's a really good grappler and wrestler. Gegard, one of the best jabs in the middleweight division, really good striking and a really good takedown defense. So that's going to be a really solid main event right there. We got Andrey Koreshkov and Saba Hamasi in the co-main event. KO TKO is all I really have to say right there. They both have a lot of power in their hands and feet in terms of Andrey Koreshkov. You got Devin Franklin and Everett Cummings with a combined MMA record of 18 wins and 0 losses. Absolutely insane. We got Magomedov and Rafael Stotts with a combined MMA record of 34 wins and 2 losses in the bantamweight division. Absolutely insane fight right there. Ty Gorder and Gadzamura Bastayev in the middleweight division, Pam Sorensen and Roberta Paim Samad in the women's featherweight division right there, Kenny St. Louis and Justin Montalvo in the lightweight division, Johnny Campbell and Danny Sabatello in the bantamweight division, Orlando Mendoza and John McNeil in the 195-pound division, so right in between the middleweight and light heavyweight division. Nekruk Mirkhajo, okay, I'm saying this a little weird, Nekruz Mirkojayev versus James Adcock, if I am saying the name correctly, but that's a really good fight in the featherweight division. And then Sebastian Ruiz and then Jeffrey Glossner in the 142-pound division. No idea why they made it that weight, but overall, I mean, that's the first time I've seen a 142-pound weight class inside of Bellator or in any sort of organization, but overall, really solid fight card for Bellator 264, Mousasi versus Salter. 11 fights on the entire fight card. But yeah, we'll go on our first fight on the fight card right here in the 142-pound catch weight division right here. Sebastian Ruiz and Jeffrey Glossner in the 142-pound catch weight division. Sebastian Ruiz, 2 wins and 3 losses. Not necessarily the best record, but he is going to have the height advantage and the reach advantage. But he has not fought in 2 straight years on a 2-fight losing streak by unanimous decision and a split decision on Mike Campbell right there. I have no idea why that was a split decision. I mean, he got dominated in the fight. I don't know what the judges were doing on that one, but Jeffrey Glossner with 3 wins and 2 losses. His last fight was 2.5 weeks ago. Crazy. Before that, fighting 3 months ago. Before that, fighting 2 years ago. So he's fought in a lot more recently than Sebastian Ruiz, who has not had a fight in about 2 years. So Sebastian Ruiz in this fight is going to go out there, try to keep range, use that height and use that reach. Leg kick, body kick, head kick, leg kick, body kick, head kick, leg kick, body kick, head kick over and over again. Put out the 1-2 over and over again. That's just the main game plan. He is a kickboxing type of guy. His only 2 professional MMA wins or head kick knockout wins in the very first round. I watched some of the film. That's all he's really trying to do. He's not really trying to box with his opponents. He's trying to keep range and land the kicks and try to knock you out with them. With Jeffrey Glossner, the reason I'm going to be citing towards Jeffrey to win the fight is definitely not just because of the record of 2 wins, 3 losses. It's the fact that Jeffrey Glossner does really good against guys that like to keep range. He has really good pressure and really good volume and does a really good job of closing that distance where a guy like Sebastian Ruiz will not really be able to land those kicks because it's going to be at closer distance. So of course, if you're like this close to your opponent, you're not going to be able to land a head kick, of course. So that would be the game plan of Jeffrey Glossner, to close that distance, throw a lot of volume, a lot of pressure on Sebastian Ruiz, and just overall try to use that to win the fight by a decision. If you're talking about the grappling and wrestling game for Sebastian Ruiz and Jeffrey Glossner, it's pretty even. Neither guy really has the best wrestling or grappling. Jeffrey, I mean, he got controlled a little bit in this fight with Anthony Jimenez. Sebastian got controlled a little bit in the Mike Campbell fight, but either fighter doesn't really have the best grappling or wrestling. I really do think this fight will be staying on the feet. So if it does stay on the feet, which I do think it will, Jeffrey Glossner has the volume, has that pressure, is going to put on that pressure on Sebastian Ruiz, and overall, in my opinion, win this fight by unanimous decision right there. Really good fight in the 142-pound division. No idea why it's a 142-pound division, but really good fight right there. Nekruz Mirkozayev versus James Adcock in the featherweight division. Nekruz Mirkozayev wrestler and grappler. That's all you really have to say for this guy. His striking is pretty good. He has some decent kicks. He has some decent 1-2 combinations, but the main bread and butter of how he's going out there to try to win the fight: takedown, 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 submission, ground and pound. That's the main way he's going to win, with a grinding decision win, a neck crank, a rear naked, or a dominant decision. That's just what he's going to try to do. Ground and pound and look for the submission, or ground and pound and look to dominate the fight. That's what he's going to try to do. On the feet, he's not necessarily that good, as I said before. He's just mainly going out there to get you down and grind out the decision or get the submission. But either way, James Adcock is not really the best striker either way. 7 wins and 4 losses. All of his wins: 1-2, 0-2, 0-5, 0-8, 0-11, 1-4, and 0-7. He is fighting some of the worst competition. Now, he did get all finishes, 3 submissions, 4 knockouts, but he has been finished in all of his losses as well. Second round submission loss, first round knockout loss, first round armbar loss, and then a first round rear naked loss. I mean, his takedown defense is absolutely horrible. The only way I really see him winning this fight is a lucky punch. That's all I really have to say for James Adcock. I mean, he's not really the most technical striker, doesn't have the best takedown defense, doesn't have a really good grappling, and his striking isn't really that impressive. I do think Nekruv and Mirkhozaev will go out there and dominate the fight from start to finish, whether it is a full 3-round fight and Nekruv dominates for 3 straight rounds, or we see an early TKO or a submission win from Nekruv and Mirkhozaev. But I do think we will see a finish. Nekruv and Mirkhozaev, his wrestling and his grappling is far, far superior than James Adcock. That is 100% for sure. So my prediction right there is very, very easy. Probably the easiest prediction on the fight card for Nekruv and Mirkhozaev to win that fight right there inside the distance by a ground and pound TKO or by another rear naked choke submission right there. Orlando Mendoza and John McNeil in the catchweight division of 195 pounds. Orlando Mendoza, by far the better striker. He's way more technical, way faster, really good jab, good inside leg kicks, good body kicks, everything like that. He's just the far better striker, the far more technical striker, the far faster striker. The power, I'm not too sure. Orlando Mendoza has some pretty good power, but John McNeil, I mean, he has good power, but the way he uses that power is very, very weird. His last fight with Caden Willis inside a Combat Zone 65 like 2 years ago as an amateur, he literally, like, I'm gonna stand up. He literally went like this to move forward. He went like this, and then he just started going like in the fight with Ngannou and Jairzinho Rozenstruik, where he literally just went and bum rushed his opponent and knocked him out. That's pretty much what he did in that fight, and that's pretty much what he did in this fight as well. So he doesn't really have the best technical striking. He literally just comes forward, hoping to land a big left or right hook or an uppercut or something like that. Do I think that's going to happen? No, I really do not. I mean, there's a chance. It is MMA. One punch does land. The fight is over. But just him doing this is not enough. Orlando Mendoza has really good footwork, really good jab, leg kicks, body kicks. All that type of stuff I think is going to work from the outside on John McNeil. John doesn't really go to the second and third round. And when he does, he looks really gassed. Because the first round, as I said, he's going for really looping punches. So it's a pretty easy prediction in my opinion. But again, there is that chance John McNeil lands the big shot and knocks Orlando Mendoza out. That is possible. Maybe John McNeil goes for a more wrestling game plan because he does have some decent wrestling and grappling. But overall, Orlando is the far more technical striker, the far faster striker, pretty much the better striker overall. So my prediction right here is going to be a knockout win in the first or second round right there. John McNeil, I mean, doing this is gonna eventually result in you getting knocked out, and I do think this one will be the knockout shot for Orlando Mendoza. So my prediction: Orlando Mendoza by a first or second round knockout, as John McNeil is going boom, 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 going for winging punches, horrible technique. I mean, come on, if you're winging punches, eventually you're gonna get knocked out. So right here, Orlando Mendoza by knockout in the first or second round. Danny Sabatello and Johnny Campbell in the bantamweight division. Man, I've kind of fallen in love with both fighter styles. Like Danny Sabatello, I mean, after watching the last fight with such a really, really good grappler in Brett Johns, Danny Sabatello just dominating him for 3 straight rounds to that decision. I mean, that is really, 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 really impressive. He's going to have the 4-inch height advantage, a 3.5-inch reach advantage. He's going to be the younger fighter, and he's going to have that wrestling and grappling advantage as well. I mean, I think Danny Sabatello could definitely be a top 20, top 25 fighter in the bantamweight division inside the UFC, because he beat Brett Johns. If you know who Brett Johns is, let's see if I can find his last fight inside the UFC was against Montel Jackson, and he won that fight by unanimous decision. But if we check right here, Montel Jackson right now inside the UFC is at number 31 on the bantamweight ranking. So I do think that Danny Sabatello could join the UFC and beat some of these guys right here, because he has really solid wrestling and grappling. I think he could beat guys like Montel Jackson, could definitely beat like a Davey Grant. He's a top tier fighter, whether it's UFC or whether it's Bellator, everything like that. His wrestling and his grappling and his grinding, his ground pound, all that type of stuff is very impressive. But that being said, I mean, I love Johnny Campbell as well. I mean, the head movement that he does have, the fact that he just goes out there all out looking for that finish. I mean, his movement around the cage, the head movement, the power that he does have in his hands, going out there as an underdog on Henry Corrales, I believe on short notice, if I'm not mistaken, ended up almost knocking him out, got him really hurt and got that submission. But man, it's a tough fight. I don't know who I'm gonna be rooting for to win the fight, because I really like both fighters a lot. But that grinding, wrestling, and grappling from Danny Sabatello, I think if he can do that to Brett Johns, he can definitely do it to Johnny Campbell right here. So my prediction is 100% going to be Danny Sabatello by a 30-27, 30-27, and 30-27 unanimous decision. But man, Johnny Campbell, he's a fan favorite fighter. I mean, the head movement, the movement around the cage, just he makes all of his fights really exciting. I expect this one for as long as it does last on the feet to be very exciting. But eventually, Danny will land that takedown and control the fight on the ground. My prediction, Danny Sabatello by a unanimous decision right there. Justin Montalvo and Kendi St. Louis in the lightweight division. Now, what I'm going to say right now, I have no idea why Bellator is bringing Kendi St. Louis to Bellator. Like, he's on a 2-fight losing streak to Slava Borshev by knockout and Michael Lilly by knockout, both being really devastating, as he was literally out cold in both of those fights. Before that, beating John Michael Escobar, who has 1 win and 3 losses, then losing to a guy that has 2 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw by unanimous decision. I mean, I have no idea why he's joining the UFC, or sorry, joining Bellator right now. He just does not deserve a shot inside of Bellator. He's not really good at anything. He's just average at striking, average at kickboxing, average in the clinch, average on the ground. He's not really good at anything. John Montalvo is kind of the same way, where he's not super good at one thing. He's not like a really good wrestler, not a really good boxer. He's just an all-around pretty good MMA fighter. But in this fight with Justin Montalvo and Kendi St. Louis, I do think that Justin Montalvo is going to be the better striker. He has way better leg kicks and body kicks, really fast 1-2 combination, and the wrestling and grappling game. Kendi St. Louis, he does not do too good down there. So I really don't see any path to victory from Kendi other than a finish. But in his career so far, out of his 3 professional MMA wins, he's gotten all finishes: second round submission, first knockout, and then third round knockout, all against bums. That's all I'm really saying. I mean, 0-3, 1-5, and then 1-3. He's getting finishes, but they're not against really good competition. Now he's going to fight Justin Montalvo, who honestly, in my opinion, is the better striker, better grappler, better wrestler, just all around the better fighter. So it's a weird fight to do a prediction for. I mean, I looked up all the film I could find on Kendi St. Louis and Justin Montalvo. None of them really have a set-in-stone game plan every single time. They're not going out there looking to wrestle and grapple for the whole entire fight. They kind of just do different things every single fight. They just go out there and wing it sort of. They strike, they add a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of grappling, but I really do think that Justin Montalvo is the better grappler, the better wrestler, the better clinch fighter, the better striker. Everything in this fight, Justin Montalvo is going to be the better fighter. So my prediction is going to be a decision win at 30-27 on the judges' scorecards for Justin Montalvo right there. Pam Sorensen and Roberto Pam Samad in the women's featherweight division. Now, super even fight. Pam Sorensen, 8 wins and 3 losses, is going to be a little bit older at 35 and a half years old. Way less than the reach right there. 69.5-inch reach and a 5'8" height right there. So a 1 inch height advantage and a 4.5-inch reach advantage for Roberta Pam Samad. This is a very close fight, because Pam Sorensen and Roberto Pam Samad really have the same kind of game plan, is to go out there and wrestle and grapple for the TKO or for the submission win. First round, a ground pound knockout, first round submission, first round ground pound knockout win, and a decision win right there. They both have the same exact game plan of just grinding out the decision or finishing the fight on the ground. Pam Sorensen with 8 wins and 3 losses, 6 decision wins, 1 submission win, and 1 knockout win. But both fighters have really solid grappling and wrestling skills. This is a tough one because Roberto Pena, in my opinion, is going to be the bigger fighter, moving from the women's lightweight division inside of the PFL to the featherweight division, and she's really, really strong. Plus, you add onto that the height and reach right there. That kind of does give her a little edge on the feet. In her last fight inside the PFL, she had a really, really good jab in the fight, and a really good 1-2 as well. She doesn't really have that good of power, but with the reach and height advantage, she could definitely just stay at range and just jab a 1-2 a little bit. As Pam Sorensen is coming into laying her takedowns, but it's a really, really even fight. It's kind of hard to pick one side over the other. Because they both haven't fought in 2 straight years. It's been 1 year, 11 months since Pam Sorensen's last fight, and then 2 years and 2 months since Roberta Pena-Sama's last fight. So I don't know what they've been doing for the past 2 years, but I do know Roberta is going to be the stronger fighter, the bigger fighter, moving from lightweight to featherweight, the taller fighter, the lengthier fighter, and with the fact that I do think the wrestling and grappling is going to be very, very 50-50, it does come down to who's going to have the better striking, and in my opinion, Roberta, with the height and reach, could kind of stay at range and just jab 1-2, the little leg kicks here and there. So my prediction right here, it's going to be a really, really close fight. Definitely, if you're planning on betting on this fight, it's definitely an underdog or pass type of fight, being how close it is in this women's featherweight division. But I am gonna go with Roberta Pena to win the fight by a 29-28 unanimous decision right there. Overall, very, very close fight in the women's featherweight division right there. Gegard and Gazimurad Bestayev in the middleweight division. Gazimurad Bestayev, 10 wins and 4 losses. 6'6" tall and a 76-inch reach. I mean, 6'6" in the middleweight division is absolutely crazy. But he has some pretty good wrestling. First round submission win, first round guillotine choke submission win right there. First round ground pound knockout, submission win, head kick knockout win. A couple more submission wins and ground pound TKO. So the game plan for Gazimurad Bestayev in this fight is to keep range on Gegard, have Gegard come into him, and then land the takedown and grind out a decision or get a submission or ground upon TKO. That would be the main game plan for Gazimurad Bestayev, in my opinion. But Gegard right here with 5 wins and 2 losses. His striking is legit, man. His striking is absolutely amazing. 5 wins and 2 losses. That amazing left hand right there, 3rd round knockout win. The body kicks and the head kicks are really what I really like about him. Because he likes to pressure his opponents to the back of the cage, and when they're in the back of the cage, they don't really have anywhere to go to be sideways or just straight back in the cage again. And when you move sideways, he hits you with a right kick to the body. When you move to the left side, he hits you with the left kick to the body. The leg kicks are devastating. I mean, against Mike Jones inside the LFA, he had a liver shot, hurt him super, super bad. It took him like 2.5 minutes to get up from that liver shot. I mean, the body kicks are amazing, the head kicks are amazing. His striking is amazing. The pressure and the volume he puts on is amazing. I mean, 5 knockout wins, every single one of them being in the very first round, except for that 3rd round knockout winner right there. But the one thing we need to look at a little bit is, of course, going to be the Dalton Rosa fight. He did get out-grappled and out-wrestled in that fight by Dalton Rosa, who is a really, really good wrestler, fighting out of Matt Factory Wrestling Club right there. If you look at some of his training partners over there, he's got a lot of other guys like Cody Law over there. He's in there as well. Jacob Lowry. I mean, he's got some really, really good training partners that are all very, very good wrestlers over there. That's the only guy to really dominate Gegard, is that good of a wrestler in Dalton Rosa. But I really do not think that Gazimurad Bestayev is as good of a wrestler as Dalton Rosa. So I do think this fight will stay on the feet. And just like the Phil Hall's fight, except this time with a overhand left, I do think that Gegard will land a really, really good shot and get that knockout win in the 1st or 2nd round right there. Overall, really, really good fight in the middleweight division. Magomedov and Rafael Stotts in the bantamweight division. The combined record of Magomedov and Rafael Stotts is, let's see right here, if I can do quick math, 34 wins and 2 losses. 29.5 years old and 32.5 years old. Both guys pretty much in the prime of their MMA careers. Rafael Stotts with a little bit of a reach advantage by around 3.5 inches right there. Magomed is going to have the kickboxing advantage. Really good leg kicks, really good body kicks, really good head kicks, really good spinning body kicks. Rafael Stotts going to have that strike advantage in terms of boxing with that 3.5 inch reach. And also with the fact that when he kind of pressures you to the back of the cage, I mean, that overhand left is absolutely devastating, but in my opinion, if Javier Santos is gonna win the fight, he's gonna be the underdog, but if he's gonna win the fight, he needs to pressure Magomedov to the back of the cage, defend whatever takedowns come his way, get Magomed to the back of the cage again, and then land that big overhand left and try to knock out Magomedov. That's gonna be the main way I see him winning. Because if he does not put on that pressure, put on that volume, the fight will be at range in the striking, where Magomedov has the better kicks, the better leg kicks, body kicks, head kicks, everything like that. And that's not where Javier Santos wants the fight to be, because in that case, he's probably going to lose the fight by a decision. So Javier needs to push the pace, push the pressure, push the volume, and try to land that overhand left or left hook and get that knockout win. But in my opinion, it's going to be hard to do that, because when you put pressure on Magomedov, we saw what happened in the Matheus fight. Matheus was going out there trying to land his own knockout, but he put on a little bit too much pressure, and Magomed, as soon as he went for a big shot, Magomed went down for the single leg takedown and took him down over and over and over again. That's what I kind of fear with Javier Santos, is him kind of overcommitting with a little bit too much pressure, getting a little too close to Magomed, and Magomed goes down for that takedown and grinds the fight on the ground. So it's a really, really close fight. If the fight did stay on the feet, I probably still would go Magomedov, because at range, he's going to have that better kickboxing, and he does go in and out with the boxing very, very well as well. So it's a really, really close fight, but I do think that eventually Magomed will get the takedown. The fight on the feet is going to be very, very even, but with the takedowns, with the wrestling, and with that grappling, it'll give him the slight edge on the judges' scorecards. I think it's going to be a very, very close fight. Definitely not like a 90% to 10% type of fight. It's a much, much closer fight than that, with a reach advantage that Javier Santos will have, with his D2 wrestling experience that he also does have. I believe he was a D2 wrestling champion, I believe, twice in college, so he has some really good wrestling, but Magomed, his wrestling, in my opinion, is on another level. Mix that with the kickboxing at range. It's going to be a close fight, but I'm very, very slightly leaning Magomedov. I don't think he should be that big of a favorite again, but I'm definitely going Magomed to win the fight by a unanimous decision right there. Really, really good fight in the bantamweight division. The winner of that fight in the bantamweight division will be fighting for the Bellator bantamweight belt next, which against Sergio Pettis, against, let's see if we find it, Juan Archuleta, one of those type of guys. I assume it's probably going to be Sergio. I doubt they're going to put him against the number one contender, so Sergio Pettis is probably going to be fighting the winner of Magomedov and Javier Santos. I do think the winner will be Magomedov, and I do think if they do Magomedov versus Sergio Pettis, that would be a really, really 50-50 fight. But overall, Magomedov and Javier Santos, my prediction is Magomedov by a decision win right there. Devin Franklin and Everett Cummings in the heavyweight division. Easiest prediction of the fight card by far. So first off, Devin Franklin is naturally a really, really good wrestler, but he's a very tall, very, very lengthy wrestler. And when you're that tall of a wrestler and you have that wrestling background, maybe you want to mix in a little bit of striking as well. And he has definitely incorporated that into his game plan. His Muay Thai skills are absolutely amazing. Like, you add his Muay Thai, that is really, really good. Amazing 1-2, really good body kicks, really good knees in the clinch, elbows in the clinch as well. Having a 5-inch reach advantage and a 4-inch height advantage. On the feet, I mean, Devin Franklin is going to have the advantage all day, and in my opinion, probably will win the fight by knockout on the feet. Everett Cummings, I mean, you see the record, 15 wins and 0 losses. Let's see the records of which he's beating all those guys. 0-1, 0-1, 0-1, 0-1, 0-2, 0-2, 3-5, 2-2 right there, not bad. 7-17, 12-8, 2-9, 0-6, 9-12, and then 7-5, and then I guess 3-2, and then I guess 4-2. So, you see right there, all the fighters that he is fighting are pretty trash. I'm gonna be quite honest. All the guys that he's fighting are not really the best competition. And in his last fight with Son Davis, that he did win by rear naked choke submission, he landed a takedown. The man got reversed. Like, what? The man got reversed by some random dude on the regional scene, dude. If you're getting reversed by this guy, Son Davis, I've watched film on Son Davis. He's not a good wrestler, but he got reversed by Son Davis. You're going to get destroyed by Devin Franklin, whether it is in the wrestling and whether it's on the feet, because Everett Cummings striking is so bad, man. It is so bad. I mean, he literally throws a big overhand right and goes for the takedown. That is the gist of his striking. He's not even doing anything in the striking. He's just throwing a big shot and going for the takedown. That's all he really does. So, in the striking game, Devin Franklin is going to knock him out. In the wrestling game, Devin Franklin is going to knock him out either either way. So probably one of the easiest predictions on the fight card. Probably Davion Franklin, easiest prediction, or Nekrug Mirkozaev. Those are my two easiest predictions, but Davion Franklin, of course, is going to win the fight by KO or TKO in the first or second round right there. In the heavyweight division, Andrey Koreshkov and Saba Hamasi in the welterweight division, man. Andrey Koreshkov is better in every single facet of this fight. Saba Hamasi does have a big right hand, big right hook, big right uppercut, big overhand right. He does have a very, very powerful right hand, of course. He can definitely get the knockout with how many of his wins by knockout? 10 knockout wins, 2 submission wins, and 3 decision wins. Yeah, he can definitely get the knockout, but that's going to be the main way he's winning. In the grappling and a wrestling game, Andrey Koreshkov has way, way better wrestling, way better grappling. Even if we look at the clinch, Andrey Koreshkov has really good knees in the clinch, amazing elbows in the clinch, really good flying knees in the clinch. In the clinch, he's better. In the wrestling and grappling, he's the better fighter. So let's just stay away from that and just focus on the striking, because Andrey Koreshkov is also going to have the striking advantage as well in this fight. He's going to be the taller, lengthier fighter as well by 1 inch in height and 3 inches in reach, and he's going to be the younger fighter as well at about 31 years old. He has really, really good kickboxing, really good spinning kicks at the body as well, flying knees, and a spinning back kick to the body on Vasil Bakozevic. Absolutely insane. Flying knee knockout win right there. Ground upon knockout win. Submission win. I mean, he's an all-around MMA fighter. He's an absolute beast in the striking, in the grappling, in the wrestling, everything like that. But Andrey, in my opinion, is going to dominate wherever this fight goes. It doesn't really matter. Saba Hamasi needs a knockout. He needs to land that big right hand and get the knockout. I really doubt it. I mean, it's one of those fights where Andrey Koreshkov is kind of like a Cyril Gane. I'm sorry I'm saying that, but Cyril Gane is fighting Derek Lewis next weekend. Cyril Gane is the better fighter. He's more technical. He's the faster striker. He's going to have the height advantage, the reach advantage, everything like that. But Derek Lewis has that chance of landing one shot and getting the knockout. Same thing goes for Saba Hamasi. He has that one chance of getting the knockout, of course. But I really doubt that's going to happen. I mean, Andrey Koreshkov is just better in every single facet of the game. So it's a pretty easy prediction. I'm going to go inside the distance for Andrey Koreshkov. I'm not sure if he's going to get a knockout win, a ground pound TKO win, or a submission win. But either way, Andrey Koreshkov inside the distance on Saba Hamasi. Absolutely the better fighter in every facet of that fight right there. Overall, really, really good fight in the welterweight division right there. Gegard Mousasi and John Salter for the Bellator MMA middleweight belt. 5 straight rounds for the main event of Bellator 264. Damn, it's going to be a really, really good fight. John Salter and Gegard Mousasi are around the same age at 36 years old. Gegard is going to be a little bit taller, a little bit lengthier as well. Gegard does have an amazing, super fast snapping jab. One of the best jabs in the middleweight division of all time, in my opinion. Coming off a Douglas Lima win and a Lyoto Machida win before that, losing to Rafael Lovato Jr., who John Salter also lost to recently in the last 3 years. But this fight, Gegard Mousasi and John Salter, is going to be a very, very interesting fight, because John Salter, without a doubt, is going to have the wrestling and grappling advantage. 18 wins and 4 losses. Absolutely dominated Andrew Campbell, dominated Castello Vancinis right there. Got the rear naked on Cheeto and Jaquani as well. His grappling and his wrestling game, everything like that, is going to be much, much better than Gegard Mousasi. But Gegard does have a really solid takedown defense of 60%. The only guys that were really able to take him down over and over and over again were Jacare Souza, who beat him by submission, and then Chris Weidman, who got 4 takedowns in that fight right there. But the one reason I'm not going out there and just saying Gegard Mousasi by knockout first or second round, or I'm just saying 100% Gegard winning, the reason for that being is Gegard Mousasi has got a lot of losses coming up by submission. Let's check it right here. He does have 13 submission wins, but out of his losses, 1 knockout loss to Uriah Hall and 4 submission losses right there. Armbar submission loss right there. Second round armbar submission loss. Armbar submission loss right there as well. Guillotine choke submission loss. Most of his losses are coming by submission, and another loss to Rafael Lovato Jr. against another really good wrestler and grappler. But this fight right here, damn, the wrestling and grappling is going to be super, super close, but I will give the advantage to John Salter. I hope he goes out there and out-grapples Gegard and gets that submission in the first or second round. It's going to be a really, really close fight, but Gegard does have a really, really solid takedown defense. And I think he will be able to keep the fight on the feet. John Salter has really good inside leg kicks. Gegard Mousasi also has really good leg kicks as well. But in this fight, I think Gegard Mousasi is going to keep range, use his height and use his reach, and use that amazing, fast, snapping, powerful jab, and just keep on landing the jab over and over and over again with the inside leg kicks, with the 1-2s, with the right hand every now and then. But overall, Gegard is just all around the better striker. John Salter is just a little bit of the better wrestler and the better grappler. He did wrestle in college and in high school, and he does. He is a black belt in jiu-jitsu right now as well. Really good wrestling and really good grappling, but it's a really tough fight for me to do, for me to predict right here for the Bellator MMA middleweight belt. Because right here, Salty Dog Jiu-Jitsu, that is the gym I currently go to right now, with Joe Selecki, Baby Hulk, and then John Salter. We got Juan Lopez as well. We got all these guys at my gym right now, and John Salter is my head coach. It's tough going against him, man. I really hope John Salter puts on that upset and goes out there and destroys Gegard Mousasi in that wrestling and grappling. But we do know Gegard does have a really good takedown defense, has really good submission defense recently. Not in the whole entire career, his takedown or submission defense hasn't really been that good. But recently, that submission defense has been really good. But for this fight right here, I'm sorry, John Salter. I'm sorry, coach, if you're watching this, man. It's just the speed and the power that Gegard Mousasi does have on the feet. I just think he's going to have that striking advantage. You're going to have the grappling and wrestling advantage. But I think overall, most of this fight will stay on the feet. My prediction is going to be a Gegard Mousasi decision win, 48-47. I think it's going to be a really close fight. I really hope John Salter puts on the upset, but I'm sorry. I'm going to go Gegard to keep the fight on the feet at range, 1-2, jab, inside leg kick, and overall win the fight by a decision. Overall, really good fight for the Bellator MMA middleweight belt. So hard doing a prediction, especially in a fight where you have a coach, you have a training partner that you're doing a prediction for. This time it is John Salter for the MMA middleweight belt. I hope he wins, but man, John Salter, you're fighting one of the best middleweight fighters of all time. I'm sorry, John, but I'm going to go Mousasi by a decision right there. Really good fight in the middleweight division right there. But yeah, guys, that is my full card prediction for Bellator 264, Mousasi versus Salter. 11 fights on the entire fight card right there. I got Gegard Mousasi winning his fight. I got Andrey Koreshkov winning his fight. Davion Franklin winning his fight. Magomedov winning his fight. Ty Gorder winning his fight. Roberto Samad winning her fight. Justin Montalvo winning his fight. Danny Sabatello winning his fight. Orlando Mendoza winning his fight, Nick Ruka Mirkozaev winning his fight, and then Jeffrey Glossner winning his fight right there. Overall, really good fight card for Bellator 264. If you're watching this video all the way to the end, make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and everything like that. It really helps out the channel a lot when you hit the like button. And also, put your full card predictions in the comment section below. Who do you think is going to win the main event with Gegard Mousasi and John Salter, and maybe Magomedov and Rafael Stotts? Put your predictions in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching the video. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and everything like that. And we'll see you in the next video. Let's go.